So, I have quite the 6-leaf there. I've been excited to have this piece come in. Sometimes these 6-leaf pieces can get me excited. This one, of course, these boxes don't say nothing. It is a nice box, though. It's a goofy thing, right? But this one is an RIHE design. And so they're on the RIHE site and the 6-leaf site. Yeah. I think there's a model number on it. It's a SL. Look at this thing. SL-48. And I'm not sure, but I think the one on the RIHE design eBay site. Wow. Look at this thing, front flipper. So it's really tight. It's really tight. Let's see if we can improve this. But it's a SL-48, and it's in 10CR15 MOV steel. There it is. Beautiful hollow ground. Look at that hollow ground. And I love, if you look at the tip, it's got this wedge. And then the tip is just notched down. It's hard to see. Love this hollow ground. Look at that thing. Man, this thing needs to be wiped down. It's super oily. Let's give it a little rub down. And then I'm going to check, I want to check the RIHE eBay page, because I'm not sure. I think it's designated something else on the RIHE design site. So like it's privately branded. This one's the 6-leaf brand. Man, would that have been nice to just put that right there. You know what I mean? Put that right there. Make me so happy. Yep. I mean, anyways. Oh, y'all got to kind of bear with me. I've got the fall crud, man. Look at this thumb stud. Big piece of, I'm going to gas titanium. How about I just don't gas and I just check? Not steel. Titanium backspacer, milled titanium pocket clip, and they've anodized the backspacer to kind of match the G10 insert, I'm guessing. Yep. Really do like the thumb stud, though. Thumb flick, spidey flick, pretty nice. It's just, I feel like we're overly tight. It's kind of the sense I'm getting. I'm going to check it. Yeah. Wow, is that tight? So that improved it a bunch. Here's what I can't tell. I can't tell if that's captured or not. Was that turning underneath there? Because, man, I turned that a bunch, and that blade is still rock solid in there. Now, it could have just been that much over tight, because the action feels way better now. Still not, like, drop shut, but, man, it's improved. I'm going to try to loosen that again. I'm going to put it down on the desk, though, because I want to get plenty of tension down on that screwdriver. It's spinning. Yeah, it's not captured. Oh, no. Yeah, what a bummer. Well, we're at that stage where I got to get in here, so I'm going to have to put it on the edge of the bench over here and apply some down pressure on that pivot. But I think I want to use, I'm going to use the nut buster to try to get a little better leverage on it than I'm getting with this. That's not really, this one is not really optimum for super, super tight. I'm not going to go too far with this because I may go heat it. I mean, I got it to turn a little bit. Look at my bit. But I think the pivot was turning, and so I'm gonna heat it up. I'm just gonna heat it up in like tap water, and try to manipulate it with that. I mean, obviously it's come loose a little bit because the action is way better. Yeah, it was way over tight. Where now it's like, I don't know. It's probably where I would want it. It's wonderful. I mean, I think before I take it apart, I'm gonna check a few things. So there's that grip. It's got a choke up, little choil there. Nice jimping. I mean, just the profile of this knife, I knew I was going to love this knife. Just, I mean, this right here, looking at it, right out of the gate, I was like, yeah, I am going to love this knife. And I like the purple, you know. Yeah. All right, well, I'm gonna get some hot water, and I'm going to get this screw out of here. We'll take this thing apart. I'll be right back. All right, so about this much water in a microwavable Pyrex dish, just so that when I put it in there, it was just over this much, and then superheated it in the microwave, about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. And when I opened the door, it was at a rolling boil, so it was boiling really well. I set this knife in there about 3 minutes, and it come up out of there. I did roll this tip, and I rolled this tip. Yeah, and man, I used all 3 of these, but ultimately I got it with this tip and this driver. Yep. Goodness. Yeah, buddy. And you can see why when we look at it. It's got a mountain of Loctite on it. Yep. It was Loctited really well, and I am going to clean some of that off of there. I mean, I don't mind the old Loctite being on there when I put it back, because usually it's not near as grippy as originally, but this one was over the top. So there, we cleaned it up a little bit. Goodness, man. Which, you know, in the end, none of that would be that big of a deal if they'd captured the pivot. So there's that. You know, to not have a captured pivot on this high end of a knife. I mean, I don't know that that's that big of a deal. What's the big deal is to not have a captured pivot and then run all that Loctite. That's the big deal. Because, man, I have a lot of knives that don't have captured pivot. It's not the end of the world. It's not a big deal. I can see this wear in here. So part of the reason the action's running the way it's running is because this internal stop pin right here is wearing in here. So I don't know if the head spacing here is correct, but that stop pin is clearly wearing in there, and that's what's affecting that action. No doubt about it. Now it's an easy enough fix. I can just trim this a little bit, this stop pin. The other side's doing just fine. So I mean, it's an easy enough fix. But that's definitely impacting that action. Now I got all this water in here, so everything's got to come apart, and that's all right. If I had any sense, I'd caliper these washers and make sure that the thick one goes here to create a, if I had any sense, maybe I'll do it. I've never, that's one of the things honestly, I'm trying to think. I don't know that I've ever been accused of that, of having sense. I'm going to take this, this steel insert off as well. Make sure that there's no water behind it. Dry that out. And then as I'm looking at this, the amount of tension that's built into this is stunning, which this is pretty flexible. So I guess it seems like a lot, but maybe not so much considering how flexible this is. They've milled this out pretty thin here. And so this is really flexible. So now the question is, surely these are glued in because they're not screwed in. I'll give them a rapid tap just to make sure that they don't pop out. I do want this collar out though. I'm going to pick at it a little bit, see if I can't get it to. And of course it's milled smaller. The hole on the collar is smaller than the hole in the scale. So if I try to get behind it here, I can't. Yeah, that may. I mean, the upside is neither part of that is corrosive. It's titanium and titanium. There isn't any metal going on. Well, it's metal. Great. Well, let's get the monster mag and see if we can attach to it and get it up out of there because it's definitely metal. I'm guessing it's pressed in there. It's fit so tight that it's pressed. Oh, there it goes. Oh, nice. Yeah, so much for that being titanium because it is clearly not. Yep, some piece of metal. All right, is there any other metal here? Let's make sure. Nope. All right, how about here? Nope. I'm going to tappy tap on this one, see if that scale pops out. It did. Yep. It's got some, what I would think was like rubber cement in there, and that's probably what I'll put in there, but it definitely was not on lockdown. So I'm going to use this hole here. I'm going to push this one out too. Yep, it pushed right out of there. At least on one end it did. Yep, there it is. This end seems like it's more on lockdown than the other side. There it goes. All right. Well, yeah, it's got some kind of rubber cement in there that's not hard, and so we'll fix that too. All right. Well, I mean, right out of the gate, we're kind of falling into this realm that, I mean, first appearances is that this thing is a really quality, nice piece. But the more we dig into it, the more it starts to justify the price point, because the price point on this doesn't say top tier piece. The price point on these knives. Looks like I've got some staining here on this blade as well. I'll make sure that comes off. Yeah, it did. Okay. The price point says budget knife, and so as a budget knife, this is maybe hitting a little bit above its pay grade. But at first glance, you see the material, the titanium, even the 10CR, it's nicer stuff. The hardware, you kind of think, it's a nicer piece, just at a good price point. But slowly but surely, as we dig in here and deal with some of this, it's starting to reveal itself as, in the end, I guess it's priced appropriately. Now, if you don't have the setup I have, not that I used any fancy tools or anything to deal with this knife. I mean, it was all, boiling water and standard tools, right? But in the end, this thing had to be dealt with because the action was too tight. And it looks like because the stop pin is riding in the scale, so we'll address that. Pivot's not captured. I will say that I'm not completely soured to the piece because of it yet, because initially it still felt like a pretty cool piece. I'm not going to waste my towel on this glue. I'm gonna get a paper towel and deal with it. So I'll be right back. Okay, I added a little bit of ethanol. Let's see what it does to this glue. Not much. Most of it's hardened. There was some of it that wasn't hardened that cleaned off, but the rest of that is hardened. It's not sticky at all. Like this right here in the center, that doesn't look hardened. Yeah, so whatever that glue is, it pretty much wiped right off the titanium. Looks like it's holding to the G10 pretty good, but the titanium didn't retain it very well at all. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, I mean, some of it is. All right, well, I'll be right back. Okay, well, one of the things I want to do is I'm going to mark this wear spot like so, because I'm going to take a little bit off of that stop pin, and then I'll disassemble, and I want to see if it's still rubbing. So this will tell me. All right, well, I think everything's clean, so I definitely have the stop pin to contend with, and man, you can really see where it's wearing there. So I think I'm just going to use my little diamond file right here. I think I can just be careful on it. I'm not looking to take a lot, because if it was touching by a lot, that action wouldn't work. So, I mean, it's a very small amount that I need to remove from that stop pin to get it to not rub. All right, well, I filed a little bit on it. I mean, if you look at it, you can't, I mean, it's not showing the difference or anything. They look the same. So I did take a minute filing off of that. So we'll put it back together. We'll check it out, see what's up. I don't think I did these washers. Here we go. All right, reassembly. These collars, I'm not real happy with these. That paint or whatever that they have on them is coming off. And they definitely press fit down in there. Man, it would have been nice if they had captured this. Goodness. So I'm going to leave the scales off for now. That'll probably be the last thing I do, is I'll glue these in. But for now, I'm going to leave that. I'm just going to reassemble. Yeah, I don't need the scales to put it together. Are they same size? Let me make sure. Yes. Oh, man, I got a bug. I'm just going to get my flu shot too, man. You know, it's funny because there's certain shots that I wouldn't be interested at all, but I've gotten in the habit of getting a flu shot. I can't tell if that's rubbing or not. Well, it didn't rub before on this side. I know that's rubbed, so I'm guessing we're good there. Let me put the other side together. And I guess I got to put my insert in. There we go. Heck, surely it's not that screw. Maybe it is. Don't call me Shirley. All right. Missing a backspacer. You know, this may be a pretty good example of how you can do so many things right, but in order to have a really, really good piece, it's all the little things that matter. It's not just the big, obvious things. It's the little things that can make a huge difference. Solid. And hydraulic. Ooh. I mean, really nice. Very solid. I think I'm going to tighten one of these. I don't need them both, but I'm going to tighten one of those just to make sure I've got a front to back balance on these scales. So right now, all of the tension is on the pivot, and so I kind of want to balance that. My presence is requested. I'll be right back. All right. Yeah, girly stuff. You know, when girls call, you gotta answer. I mean, I kind of forgot where I was, but I was putting that screw in, and did I get it tight? Nope. Now it's tight. All right, so I've got good tightness front to back. Blade center, the action on it is stunning now. Yeah, it's wonderful. I almost feel like it's dragging now, so it'll be interesting. I want to get in there and see if that's rubbing on that scale. All right, I don't think we need to do any more than that. Let's make sure we don't have any wiggle, none. Super locked up, very hydraulic. I mean, yeah, I'm happy. But let's get it apart and make sure that we're not rubbing on that stop pin. And if that's the case, then we'll glue up these scales, get them back mounted, and wrap up on this piece. It's been kind of a journey. But listen, when we drop the price point, I believe the whole thing will kind of come together for us. Screwdrivers. Bumping. I'm going to have to hold here. And yeah, look at all the Loctite that come out of there. Clean that thread up a little bit. Yeah, this has got to go in the trash. That one's gone. We'll use this one. This one's kind of rounded. You know what? I got surprised. So these right here, look what I got here. And only if you're still in this video are you going to know that I got some of these. They're going to be available on, you don't have to order them from AliExpress. I know not everybody trusts them like I do, but I put some of these in so that they could be on Timber's Edge. So you'll be able to find them over there on Timber's Edge. I don't have a lot of them because I'm not in the business really to sell stuff, but I wanted to provide these because once or twice a week, somebody asked me, hey man, what's that? And so I had Timber's Edge put some in. And so when you're watching this video, those should be available on that site. And so you can get one local. And I think for me to anywhere in the U.S., it's 3 to 5 days tops. Yep. And it's a trusted source. You don't have to worry about AliExpress dinging you. So yeah, I thought some of y'all would be interested to find out about it. But because I really do like this one, it's great for heavy work, but it's not for the heaviest work. That would be the nut buster or the little wrench. All right. Yeah, so it's not rubbing. See our black marker? None of that's been wore off from that stop pin, so we're solid. So I got to glue scales, and I think I want to do it off of the knife. Yep, I think I do. Okay. I got distracted, but yeah, I glued that one in. I'm just using some standard super glue on this. I want to be careful down on these ends because you get too much and it'll squeeze out, which isn't the end. I will tell you that if you catch it early with some ethanol, you can wipe that up pretty quick. So that's it. I'm just gonna put some super glue in there. There's no reason for these to ever come out again, so I can put them in there permanently. That's it. And so I'm gonna let them sit for just a short amount of time, and then we'll reassemble this knife and keep it moving. But yeah, just super glue, man. No big deal. I was gonna use rubber cement, but rubber cement or epoxy, you could use any of that. But honestly, standard super glue because they're fit so tight that any adhesion is gonna keep them in there. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, let's wrap this thing up. I let that glue set up, and while I did, I realized how long this video has gotten. So, I mean, there were some things involved here, but golly, let's put this thing to bed. So what we got to do is get it put back together, and then we'll run a good check-in on it. We'll check the action and the ergonomics, the pocket clip. Yeah, all important stuff. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Already got a fair coating of oil on all of that. Okay. Piece of pie. Yeah, it's going to force me to put a little tension on it. It was close, though. I thought I was going to grab. Let's get these in. Oh, it's spinning also. It's all right. We'll get it. Pocket clip's recessed in the titanium, and it's got a lot of straight lines. So one screw, I don't have any concerns about this pocket clip. It's going to be just fine. I did not check the tension of it, so we may have to come back to that. I'm going to put a little tension on this blade and finalize this tightening. That went really well. Let's get these scales. It's going to force me to grab and get the pocket clip. Got a little wiggle there, but I need another bit and a driver for the one, so I'll tighten up the other one as well. There we go. Okay, and the pocket clip. I have to pick that up a little bit. There we go. The fact that there's some wiggle in this pocket clip makes me think I don't have the right screws. So I'm going to come out of there. Let me make sure that that's not the case, but I think I do. I think I have the wrong screws. And that's why that one wasn't giving me what I needed either. It's acting kind of weird. Of course, now I'm looking at them and they look exactly the same. I mean, what about these? I checked them and they definitely look to be the same, but my guess is maybe not. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure this out. Okay, let's wrap this thing up. What it was is these two barrel spacer nuts. One of these screws is longer than the other, and that needs to be in this space right here. Yeah, and so I had them switch, so I had to switch it. But yeah, it's all together. And so let's talk about this action now. Blade centered, the thumb flick is stunning, the spidey flick, and then the front flipper. Yeah, I mean, there's a few little glitchy things with this piece. You know, the not captured pivot, the glue on the G10 inserts. There's a couple of little things. These steel collars, you know, I mean, how much easier would that have been to just truly use titanium and anodize it versus putting a piece of steel in there? I don't know. That's probably a thing that you go, yeah, nobody will ever know. Yeah, unfortunately. But there's a lot to like here. These, you know, so this action, I mean, at this point, it's definitely an A minus, probably leaning towards an A. It is really, really good. And, I mean, it's fall shut, super smooth. It's got a correct detent for the thumb and the spidey flick and that front flipper. So, I mean, it's an A. Ergonomics, this jimping is really nice on the spine. It's grippy, you dig in. You can push past it, but it's really grippy. Very comfortable in hand. The contours of the scales here, this thing sits in. To me, this is a perfect size knife. I'm going to call it a large knife, but it's definitely a medium to a large, not a large to an extra large. But I have, you know, about a ½ inch left over on the butt of this knife. It's got jimping on the back spacer. The pocket clip disappears in the hand. Back to the action. This is lowered and very scalloped, so very intuitive to unlock this knife. Super easy to do, and it's past that upper detent right there. So very early on, past the detent. Another reason for the A action, but back to the ergonomics. It also has a choke up here that's very comfortable, very capable of digging in and slicing really well. It's got a reverse grip that you can cap with the thumb, and then a full pickle grip that you can cap with the thumb, but I think this one's kind of a reach around and, you know, kind of grab it here. But definitely can get into this power grip right here. Yeah, let's check pocket clip. I mean, a couple of quirky little things, but it really is kind of hitting above its price point. We're going to get to the price point here shortly, but we do run out of room at the top of the pocket clip for the triple stitch. Definitely a lot of tension there, but it's because we run out of room. So interestingly enough, probably not enough tension in standard jean size material. So I do think I'll resolve that. Same thing in my back pocket here. I use that right back pocket in that outer on the right side. So when I sit, it's not underneath me. I don't really feel the knife in there, and it's easy to reach back with the right hand and deploy the knife from my back pocket. But I'm going to put a little tension on this pocket clip and try to resolve this. It almost looks like it's curved away, the wrong way. So we'll put a little tension on that real quick. Okay, it was very easy to manipulate that clip. So let's see what we've got for tension now. And I've chewed these jeans up and they catch on the inside. There we go. Yeah, wonderful tension on that clip now. And one hand in, one hand out. And it's got excellent tension on it. So check it for safety. No contact through the scales. And the tip is well recessed. So the clip's good, tip's good. And I can handle this knife any old way I want. I don't have to worry about making blade contact. Let's check this. Yeah, it's got good detent on the bottom. So it'll hold that blade in down there. There's no lock rock or any of that going on. There's no wiggle in this blade whatsoever. And speaking of that blade, how's that 10 CR? Yeah, buddy. Yeah, they've got a wonderful edge on that hollow ground. Let's talk price and availability real quick. Okay, availability is basically the two Sixleaf sellers. The RIHE Design seller on eBay has showed this knife a few times, but I can't find any history on it. But the two Sixleaf sellers, if you find these in a fixed auction, they're $75 to $80. If you find these in live auctions, the history on these looks like they're going for, I don't know, upper 50s to $65 or so. Yeah, so the question is, let's say $60. Is this a $60 knife? That's why I say, I think this knife punches way above the $60 price point. The 10CR is really solid steel. It's good stuff. The hollow ground, the titanium, and the action. I mean, this thing's stupid, man. It's wonderful. It is a really nice, large knife with good components for $60. Now, these components could easily start to press you towards $100. Well, I think there's $100 S35VN knives and things in that range that are in the $100, $110 range that would probably punch a little better than this piece. But I mean, for $60, pretty solid. Hey, I appreciate y'all watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.